Brain injury is more common than you might think. Transportation and sporting accidents, shaken baby syndrome, gunshots, and stroke are only some of the many causes. In the United States, a traumatic brain injury occurs every 21 seconds, and stroke is the third leading cause of death. Brain injury does not discriminate. It can happen to anyone. This is the story of a remarkable group of 13 brain injury survivors from Montana, the state which has the second highest rate of brain injury per capita in the United States. The survivors are members of a Missoula support group called the Puzzle Club and have spent the past year collaborating with University of Montana drama professor Dr. Jillian Campana to write a play about their experiences living with brain injury.
I had some previous background with the stroke support group at Community Medical Center here in Missoula, Montana, and also with the brain injury support group. So I knew some of those folks and was curious to find out how they could be a part of the playwriting process.
Campana, a stroke survivor herself, approached the Puzzle Club members because she was interested in understanding how survivors might benefit from using theater to discuss their injuries. She initiated the collaboration by attending one of their weekly breakfast meetings that take place in a Missoula restaurant. Jim Mickelson founded the support club in 1999, 8 years after his fire truck was hit by a train. He regularly invites those who are coping with brain injury to come to the Puzzle Club and share how they are trying to put the puzzle pieces of their lives back together.
It's hard to imagine that. It's hard to imagine when you're trying to come back from starting over again. And the reality is that you start over again as a baby and learn how to walk and talk.
Puzzle Club members and project participants Barbara Harper, Jack Coleman, and Willow Cameron.
April 1st, 2000, I had a brain aneurysm and had to have brain surgery.
And one morning I just woke up and I couldn't stand up, so I had a stroke. And I used to be in a rodeo and worked as a mechanic, and it was just all taken away.
June 2nd, 2002, or June 4th, 2002. 10 o'clock in the morning, rear axle came off. I was in a coma for 2 months.
I ended up going to the Puzzle Club and talking to the group. And I presented kind of a few different scenarios to them. They rejected many of them. The first idea that I had was to use drama, particularly role play exercises and improvisational exercises, in kind of a therapeutic context. Right down the line, every member of the Puzzle Club said, "We don't need you for that. We're already doing it. That's what we have this group for. We don't need drama, and we don't need you."
Campana almost abandoned the project, but instead took it one step further and returned to the club's breakfast meeting the following week to explore other options.
Here I am going to these group of people and trying to mandate a way into their lives and into their subject matter. And why don't I just go back to them and ask them what they want to do and offer my services as more of a facilitator? And that's what I did. So I went back to the group and said, "I'm here, what do you want to do?" And they said, "Well, we want to teach people about brain injury. I'd be interested in that," is what Jim Mickelson, who started the club, told me. And that's where the project began.
Campana listened to the group's interest and ideas, and subsequently spent the summer of 2004 conducting extensive individual and group interviews with the 13 participants. She asked them to talk about their injuries and the way their injuries had changed them. The audio and video tapes of the interviews generated over 400 pages of transcripts, and Dr. Campana used these exact words to write the text of the play.
So after I had an initial play, a beginning, a middle, and an end, I decided to cast actors in the roles of the real Puzzle Club members.
Maybe clarify a few things.
If the 13 participants were playing themselves, they wouldn't see the big picture, and they wouldn't have the distance.
The Puzzle Club members agreed with Campana's decision to have actors portray them. The Puzzle Club members, whose stories were shared in the play, met with the actors throughout the rehearsal process so that they had some control over the way they were represented.
I was going to say the same thing. When I first saw Teresa playing my part, I thought she was a little over-hyperactive. I had mentioned to Jim and Jeff, I think she's playing with just a little bit too much energy, and they said, oh no.
I saw a lot of things about me that I didn't know it before. I said, is that really me? Do I do that? I do.
They told me I would never walk again, and they sent me home in a wheelchair, and I thought...
I'm trying to play myself.
For the actors who played the 13 brain injury survivors, it was an experience unlike any other.
It's such a daunting task. You so deeply want to please and represent this amazing person who has gone through such a phenomenal life, and it's a pressure that you don't have with another play.
Different experiences in life have helped me. Maybe someone.
How do I approach playing this life force, this guy? And I said, I didn't want to try and be John. Only John can be John. But what I can bring forth is, who is this guy? He is an amazing storyteller. What did he want to do? He wanted to get the message of this play across. That was number one.
The play, titled The Puzzle Club, Brain Injury Survivors Talk, provides survivors, family members, friends, caretakers, and healthcare professionals a glimpse into the brain injury experience from the survivor's perspective.
I was sleeping and awakened by an alarm from my pager that there was a fire.
First stroke. I had it in Nevada at my daughter's place.
I was riding a horse with my friend in Florence. And the thing was, when we were starting to walk across the street, the horse himself started getting antsy and prancing.
I was driving a car in Colorado, and so I heard or read that it rolled 8-10 times, and I got sent airborne to Grand Junction, and I was in a coma for 2 months.
I was going, it was just a normal day. And
of course, I couldn't understand what was going on.
April Fool's Day, and I was working at Ruby's. I had a brain aneurysm.
Each one of the 10 scenes in the play deals with a different issue the Puzzle Club members shared with Campana.
And what I started doing is just combing through the transcripts and coming up with themes that really all 13 members had in common. They all talked about family, issues with family. They all talked about before, what they were like before this injury.
You name it, I've done it. I was very, very smart. I worked for the government, I built houses, I repaired things, been a mechanic, a preacher.
I'd gone back to the university to become an elementary school teacher, which, requires a lot of energy. Well, you've got to have patience with little kids. Can you imagine blowing up in their presence? It would be so wrong. I'm not going to make that mistake.
I was very athletic and energetic, and I worked hard. In fact, they had to hire 3 people to take my place. Serves them right.
Before, I was single in California doing daycare in my home, and I drove. I would get in my car and drive to my cousin's in Arcadia Beach. I could come and go as I wanted to.
I worked at a car place detailing cars, That was just part-time because it gave me money. I had a bit of muscle.
I was 17 when it happened. It was the summer before my senior year. It's taken one just living the day for the day, just having fun, you know, just doing everything as normal kids do, you know. I was a normal teenager, you know.
The award-winning play premiered at the University of Montana in October of 2004. And because of audience interest and support, it was subsequently filmed so that hospitals and rehabilitation centers across the nation could have access to the play. On opening night, the Puzzle Club members, their families and friends joined the sold-out crowd to experience their stories told theatrically.
I don't think any of us were prepared for the performance.
I think that initial, when the big bang hits and just trying to show them falling down, and then if they can come back from there.
I still have body chills. I don't know if I'm honestly ready to watch it or not. I want to, but honestly, I don't know if I am.
The first part's kind of scary. It brings back memories quick. I mean, it'll be 17 years. To bring all that back right in 1 minute is devastating.
I can remember the Big Bang. That scared me.
So scared of it. That's the truth. That's what happened.
Train hit my truck.
Riding a horse.
Heat strokes.
Logging accident?
Car accident. Brain aneurysm.
Car accident.
A stroke.
Car accident.
Car accident.
Car accident.
Chemical poisoning and stroke.
Stroke.
You know, trying to put that in graphics is real tough. What happens when you go through that split second where your life really changes?
And they also all talked about frustration, the frustration of the recovery, the slowness of the recovery, and the different stages that they would go through.
You're sitting there behind your desk being so goddamn petty, and I'm worried about how I'm going to button my shirt in the morning. I know I shouldn't, but it makes me really, really angry. It makes me so angry, it isn't funny.
I feel that too much. That's what the Puzzle Club has helped me not express the anger, but express things other than the anger.
Like if you're hurt, it's like you have all this emotion in your head and not knowing what to do with it. Like when you get frustrated and you just can't do it, or you can't make it work. That's what it feels like every day, every waking minute. So much in your mind and you can't even really think about speaking it. And people want to know, are you retarded? I don't think you should have sympathy, but a little understanding.
Right now, I'm not disabled. 5 minutes from now, I might be disabled. You never know when it's coming. You're randomly disabled.
In reality, most of us who had an accident did just like John and others, we died. That person that was Jim Mickelson, the fireman before, is no longer here.
Yes.
So the new person that comes out is what we've seen acted out here.
So it's morning, and you know, mornings are not good for me at all. And I was making breakfast for my children, and I asked my son a question, and he didn't answer me, or maybe he did, maybe I just didn't remember. And he was in middle school at the time, and he's all says, "Talk to the hens." And you know, because I had put a lot of effort into making that breakfast, and I don't know what possessed me, but I turned around and I bent over and I said, "Speak to the chiefs." And my daughter spit Cheerios everywhere. Here's the lady who's had it up there with her son and just mooned him.
That's a stage. That's a frustration.
all of the real people also were very, very open to the actors and the actors' interpretations, and really comfortable with the choices that the actors made, and made sure that the actors knew that they really couldn't do anything terribly wrong, as long as they tried to be, honest and thoughtful about their portrayal. That was really all they wanted or needed.
I think speak to the cheeks. We'll go down in
history.
Yeah. Well, not only because of its humor, and it was such a release for the audience to, take that big guffaw, but also because its intent is always what Lois's intent is, which is to cheer, bring joy and humor and laughter. Raise your hand if you've ever had your feelings hurt by the way someone treated you because of your injury.
Down at the mall, they say, hey, get over there. You don't need to be walking over here. You're handicapped.
Who said that?
Many of them, people, just in general.
Why? Because you're walking funny?
Oh, well, I can only walk so fast. They don't want to get behind a handicapped person.
Oh, I've had that.
Especially like me.
Especially two of us. I don't care if people are doing that. That's their problem.
Oh, but they come right up to you and they
I'm just saying, no, I was here first.
I know when I went to school the following year after my accident, I knew students around there I've known for years, but they just looked at me kind of weird, like who, like I was retarded or, I was just a weird person, because even though I said hi to them and everything else, and they just kept to their little old quiet self, it doesn't matter. The only thing is that you're alive, and you are prospering and everything else. It's all up to you whether you want to go ahead and go on, or if you want everybody's criticism to be a burden on you. Because when I was young, and just coming from my accident, I was walking kind of lopsided, but that is nothing to make fun of a person of.
That's right.
Just because you walk, because my right hand side would always click back, and it's really weird to explain.
It was important to the Puzzle Club members that the play articulate not only their hardships and struggles, but also their triumphs and their individual advice and messages to anyone coping with brain injury.
It's just a joy to see that you can make people aware that, hey, life goes on after a brain injury. That's the big thing. That's one of my big messages. I work primarily with prevention, but the other side of it is after you've had a brain injury, can you come back, and how much?
I hope it's watch out, be careful. Don't ever judge someone.
They learn, one, how we act and why we act like we do. Because they're just caregivers and interested people. And their friends have had it like me. Well, now they know. Oh, that's why Jack does that.
I'd like the audience to carry away the same idea that the play is positive, that the message is positive. What's the message? I don't know exactly. Maybe it's just the positive message I'd like to leave anybody with for the rest of my life, anytime, and any encounter that I have with people. Well, I want it to be positive.
Life for me will never be what it used to be.
Every person has knowledge in them. They're just waiting to get it out.
But with optimism and direction, I can climb many a mountain.
Don't treat us any different. Treat them like a regular human being, because that's what we are.
Brain injured, not brain dead.
From rehabilitation to near-death experiences, the play covers many topics, but there is an ultimate message that the Puzzle Club shares.
Maybe this will give them hope. They can see that their problem isn't the end. maybe this play will show them that there's more to come, good to come.
Yeah, exactly. Don't give up hope and just keep going on and make the best of what you have. And
never give up.
You can never give up.
Yes,
Take it one day at a time.
and accept yourself as you are.
For these 13 people who participated in the project, they have a lot of hope. They go to the Puzzle Club because they're hopeful people. They took part in this project because they believe that projects like this can work and be wonderful and be good. And so they really are, really are a tenacious, upbeat, strong-willed group of people.
And I said, now you know how I felt when you were growing up.
They got to see in an hour and 20 minutes, they got to see kind of the totality of their growth.
One of the things that I think the play does is it creates, it bottoms out in our common humanity and our vulnerability, which sometimes is our real strength. Sometimes our weakest links are our strongest links because they're the things that make us empathetic and really care about each other.
These group of people are remarkable in the fact that they can, I don't know, they found this love of life after a horrible and debilitating experience, and coming and, I don't know, like meeting them and experiencing the fact that there's so much vibrance and so much just pure, raw energy.
I mean, I learned far more from Bob than he ever could have learned from my performance, and far more from the play and you people than I ever dreamed, imaginable when I got involved with it.
After the play closed, the Puzzle Club members participated in exit interviews so that their experiences with the playwriting project could be gauged.
The Puzzle Club members felt like people cared about them, people cared about brain injury, people wanted to learn more about brain injury, people found their stories valuable. And because so many people came, they felt valued as human beings with worthwhile stories to tell, with worthwhile things to teach people. And that was a really neat byproduct that I hadn't thought about.
The actors and Puzzle Club members who participated in this theater project are not the only ones who had the opportunity to learn about brain injury. Theater provides audience members the opportunity to briefly walk in someone else's shoes. And in that way, the Puzzle Club, Brain Injury Survivors Talk, helps us all to see and understand not only the devastation the brain injury survivor experiences, but it allows us to celebrate their triumphs as well.
The Puzzle Club. Finding life's little puzzle pieces to make your life better.
The people behind the brain injuries are alive, and they're worthwhile. They can have a life. You can have a life after a stroke. It takes a while to get there, but the families need to accept the people as they are, not what they want them to be.
Well, in the beginning, it's just getting through the day, learning how to deal with the way that people treated us, learning how to deal with the loss, learning to walk, talk, whatever. There's a period of existing. Whew, I'm gonna live. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna survive. Well, now I'm more than a survivor. Now I'm a thriver.
Working on this play really reminded everybody involved that pain and tragedy aren't always the end. Sometimes they're just the beginning.